What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 13-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. With that lucky number 13 games in front of us, I think it's time for you guys to test your luck. So right now, like this video, comment your double dong pick down below, the guy you think is going to hit 2 home runs today. If you're correct, you'll be entered to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, and I will announce the people who won from the last video before the 4th of July later in the video. But for now, on to our first corner of today's slate, the top pitching, and Jacob deGrom going against Philly should be a popular option today. deGrom gets 3.6 implied runs against him, and he's expected to be the number 1 owned pitcher on DraftKings with 41%, on FanDuel with 28%, and on Yahoo with 50%. deGrom continues to look solid on paper with his 11.2 Ks per 9 and a 14.6% swing strike rate, but with only 2 games over 25 fantasy points in his last 9 starts, and a Philly projected lineup with a 20.6% aggregate K rate. The ownership does seem a bit high to me here. I personally haven't found Jacob deGrom to be the most reliable pitcher here, even though he's always owned like he is going to be a guy who comes through. I'm inclined to go under the field here and try to find some value pitching elsewhere to help me forward some of the bats that I like a little bit more on today's slate. Justin Verlander versus the Angels should also find some ownership today with 3.6 implied runs against him as well. Verlander will be number 2 owned on Yahoo at 25% and FanDuel at 16%, will have similar ownership to FanDuel on DK. Verlander's fantasy ability remains elite with a .79 whip, 11.1 Ks per 9, and a 15.8% swing strike rate, but the Angels projected line of 17.9% K rate, 118 WRC plus, and 274 batting average are going to make him have to really earn it today at slate high prices at pitcher. I can't begrudge you going with Verlander given that he has a ceiling that's really hard to find with any of the other pitchers on the slate, but I think the spot here versus the Angels is going to be a tough one, and I'm less inclined to go to him today because his price is so high that you also can't afford many quality bats with him. And Aaron Sanchez versus Baltimore should also find his way onto some rosters today with 4.8 implied runs against him. Sanchez will be the number 2 owned overall player on DraftKings with 23% ownership, and he's expected to be lesser owned everywhere else across the industry. The value price for Sanchez is appealing when combined with Baltimore's projected line of 5 hitters over league average and strikeout rate, and also a 236 batting average, but Sanchez's 1.8 whip and 7.5 Ks per 9 are not bankable numbers at all. Baltimore is not a great hitting team, but I don't know that Sanchez is the guy who can capture that opportunity quite so well. I get with his price being low that some ownership is deserved, but I think with his ownership being that high, I might be inclined to get some Baltimore stack leverage in there. On to our next corner of the top stacks on the slate, and the Boston stack going against Gregory Soto should be a popular option with 6.6 implied runs for them, which are a slate high. Soto allows a 1.9 whip with just 6.3 Ks per 9 on the year, as well as a 4.8% on run rate that allows a lot of power upside for Boston. Boston's projected lineup is iffier versus left-hand pitching with only Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, and JD Martinez over a 100 WRC+, but those 3 do look like a strong but highly owned mini stack to have today. Soto has shown he barely deserves to stay in the majors, while Boston has a couple of hitters who can do some serious damage, one of whom I'll talk about a little bit more later in the video. I think it's a strong spot for a Boston mini stack, but a full stack may be asking a bit much. A Toronto stack versus Dylan Bundy should also find some ownership today with 5.7 implied runs for them. Toronto is in a solid home run spot given the power-friendly park they have at home and Bundy's 5.2% home run rate allowed overall. Bundy allows a ton of power to both sides of the plate, but he also brings 9.6 Ks per 9 and a 13.2% swing strike rate that could make him a leverage pitcher, given that Toronto has a 24.8% aggregate K rate in the projected lineup today. Toronto's hitters are rounding into form, and with Bundy giving up a ton of power production, I could see wanting to go there, but with their ownership as high as it is, I think Bundy's strikeout ability could make him a very interesting leverage play today. And a Milwaukee stack for Steven Brault should also find some fans today with 5.2 implied runs for them. Reasonable Milwaukee prices and a positive hitting bar combined with Brault's 1.6 whip makes Milwaukee seem like a stack that's worth some of its big ownership. Brault has been significantly better versus lefties with a 1.3 whip and a 4.2 xFIP compared to a 1.7 whip and 5.1 xFIP to righties, but his low overall 2.3% home run rate means there could be less one-off power production to go around. I'm generally a fan of the power that a Milwaukee stack provides, but I think the spot versus Brault's a guy who's actually been better versus lefties could limit some of their production a bit, so I'm not sure that I'm as into the stack as the ownership seems like it will be. On to our next corner, the lower owned options on today's slate, and Eduardo Rodriguez versus Detroit with 4.4 implied runs against him should be one that I like today. Erod gets a Detroit team with a 24.5% aggregate K rate that should play well with the 9.4 Ks per 9 he has so far in 2019. Nick Castellanos' 172 WRC plus, as well as Heimer Candelario, Nico Goodrum, and Miguel Cabrera all over a 118 WRC plus is scary, but Rodriguez has high strikeout potential despite a righty-heavy lineup for Detroit. There's definitely some risk because Detroit does hit lefty pitchers much better than they do righties. I think the spot here for Erod is one with a lot of strikeouts in front of him, and at his price, I'm willing to take a few shots at him today. An Atlanta stack versus Jordan Yamamoto also interests me with 5.9 implied runs for them. Yamamoto has been really good so far this year with a .96 whip and 9 Ks per 9, but his 49% fly ball rate and 43.4% hard contact allowed can mean problems in a hot, homer-happy Atlanta home park. Yamamoto's 5.1 xFIP seems due for some negative regression despite his strong results thus far, versus an Atlanta team who has a 185 ISO versus right-hand pitching in a positive hitting park. Yamamoto has been good on the year, but he has some underlying numbers that make it seem like he's due to give up some big production coming up soon, the spot versus Atlanta is one where that definitely can occur. And Martin Perez versus Texas is also a low-owned pitcher who interests me with 4.5 implied runs against him. Texas' projected lineup brings a 26.4% K rate and 75 WRC+, while Perez remains solid with a 1.8% on run rate and 8.3 Ks per nine. 7 hitters in Texas' projected lineup strike out above league average versus left-hand pitching, and with Minnesota's home park also limiting run production, it seems like a safe spot with upside and a Perez revenge spot versus his former team. Texas has shown some real weakness versus left-hand pitching, especially when not at home. I think the spot for Perez is a really good one to go to him today at not much ownership at all. And a Pittsburgh stack versus Zach Davies also interests me with 5.3 implied runs for them. Pittsburgh's lineup doesn't strike out with a 16.7% K rate, while Davies has allowed 9.7 hits per nine, and now he's entering a hitting-friendly park. Davies has been worse versus lefties with 1.6 whip, and now he's getting a Pittsburgh lineup who has a lot of lefties and also projects for little ownership despite a 278 batting average versus right-hand pitching. Pittsburgh tends to go underappreciated as a stack, while Davies is not a pitcher who's going to limit production too much. I think it's a nice spot to go to Pittsburgh, and it doesn't take much ownership to get above the field on them. On to our last corner of the one-offs, and Chris Davis versus Yusei Kikuchi is one to interest me. Davis remains exceedingly cheap with a 280 ISO and 48% hard contact versus left-hand pitching, while Kikuchi allows 10.4 hits per nine and a 5.6 xFIP to righty hitters. Davis has been banged up and hasn't been fully himself on the year, but he's in the lineup today, and I think the spot versus Kikuchi is one that's about as good as he's going to get. JD Martinez versus Gregory Soto is also an interesting one-off to me. Martinez has a 315 ISO and a 178 WRC+ versus left-hand pitching, while Soto gives up 12.7 hits per nine and 47% hard contact to righties. Martinez is actually relatively cheap compared to the rest of that Boston mini stack who looks appealing. I think it's a nice spot for him as a one-off or as part of that mini stack. And Yordan Alvarez versus Felix Pena also looks interesting today. Alvarez is expected back in the lineup with his 400 ISO and 174 WRC+ versus right-hand pitching, while Pena's projected long reliever has been solid, but still allowing 10.1 hits per nine and a 4.1% home run rate to lefty batters. Yordan didn't get much opportunity in cores this week, but I think the spot versus Pena is one where he can make up for that. It's a nice one overall, and Pena has struggled historically versus lefties quite a bit. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on today's post-4th of July slate. So right now, if you want to win that free month of Osmo Plus, make sure to like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. On Wednesday, we had a bunch of guys in the league hitting double dongs, but only one of them was guessed correctly in the comments. So these 4 guys right here guessed Mike Trout correctly. We got Jake Rudolph, Marmar, Hoopstar89, Mark Cherrypicked, and Willie Walls all got it correctly. So good job by you guys. And when in doubt, go with Mike Trout. But only one person can win that free month of Osmo Plus. So I ran the random Excel generator spreadsheet, and the winner is Mark Cherrypicked. So Mark, email me at chris@osmo.com to collect your free month of Osmo Plus. And for everybody else, if you want to win your free month, like the video and comment your double dong pick for today's slate down below. But if you don't want to wait for Lady Luck to swipe right on you and give you a shot at winning that free month of Osmo Plus, you can also buy one for yourself at half off with this promo code Switch and Hedge. You get half off your first month of any Osmo Plus package and get all the ownership projections, the regular projections you can just plug right into the Fantasy Cruncher, the deep dive column every day, the lineup builder. There's a million different tools that'll help you make better MLB DFS lineups every single day. So use that promo code Switch and Hedge right now for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'm here for you guys every weekday. I'm also on Twitter all the time answering your guys' questions and chopping it up. So get on there. Go follow me on both Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags right now. I'll be back on Monday with another Four Corners video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you all had a happy and healthy 4th of July. No fingers blown off. No food poisoning from any tainted burgers at your barbecues. But I wish you guys a happy weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. So enjoy your weekend. Good luck, guys.